Rob Hadley and Billy Connolly will be Australia's sole representatives competing in this year's World Blind Cycling Championships, and they earned that honour by bringing home a swag of medals from the national titles at Ballarat last January. Success is no stranger to Billy. He's a remarkable young Australian, able to break records in weightlifting as confidently as he wins medals in sight-impaired athletics competitions. Now he's taken to a tandem cycle for a shot at a world title. Rob Hadley, too, is a tireless competitor, finding in Billy a talented and committed tandem partner. But the competition in the world titles will be tough. Cycling for the sight-impaired is a major sport in Europe, and medals don't come easily. It's a 6-day road race in and around Paris, and will finish this year just before the Tour de France is completed. As far as Billy and Rob are concerned, they believe they've trained hard. Now all they need is the $5,000 to get them there and back.
The blind tandem cycling is very big in France. We're told that the Dutch and the Belgians are also well into it, and I think the Dutch are the ones, being such big men, that will give us the hardest time.
Bill, on the tandem bike itself, how do you find adapting to that? Is it a very specialised form of cycling?
Well, like, you got to work together, because if you get out of coordination, you can come off very quick. But me and Rob do it quite well, so I'm quite happy.
And you've been working quite well together? You've found it easy to cycle together?
Yeah, excellent. We're very smooth together.
And Bill, finally, how do you think it's shaping up? Do you feel confident?
Well, I don't really know. They reckon the competition's going to be very hard. I was told that you've got to be hard to sit on 60 k's an hour for the first 10 k's or so I think we might be able to do something good over there.
In Newcastle, the mini-budget received a mixed response from the business community at a special breakfast in City Hall this morning. Cuts in particular to unemployment benefits for 16 and 17-year-olds was harshly criticised by Secretary of Trade's Hall, Peter Barrick.
Well, we believe it's a cynical exercise in that it's obviously a political statement that 16 and 17-year-olds don't vote. I would think for the purpose of keeping 16 and 17 years olds at school, the reason that should be done is an improvement in their academic standards. But for the purpose of keeping a school to improve unemployment figures and reducing budget outlays appears to me to be a cynical and political exercise in the extreme.
What about the cutbacks to the senior people?
The event has been held for the past 5 years, with Mick Reynolds placed second in 1984 before winning the following 2 years.
Excellent.
He was perusing the surf at Newcastle Beach today, musing about how different things will be at Uluwatu in Bali. Then it will be man-on-man contest in which high scores are given for tube riding. There, Mick describes conditions as perfect and consistent.
Well, over in Bali, the conditions are a lot more crucial. It comes down to very sucky conditions, fast waves, and it really is a thrill. Good tubes.
Well, for the uninitiated, what are sucky conditions?
Well, when you take off, you just drop down a wave and your stomach curls up and you just turn and you just hang on. That was like that, and your heart's going 10 to 1.
Well, you've won the Bali competition a couple of times now. You'd be a reasonable expert on the type of surf. For those who'd like to know, how do you ride it?
A lot of practice. I've been over there 5 times now, and I do spend a lot of time over there prior to a competition. And a little bit of guts, I suppose, and having good equipment. I'm very happy with my new ski I've just made.
You're a ski designer?
Yeah, I designed for Kyle skis. I just designed a new ski, 2.25, which I hope to give a full workout over there.
The group from the Hornsby and Central Coast Building Centre arrived by seaplane touching down on Newcastle Harbour. They claim that the bridge toll divides the city of Sydney, but may force investors and home builders to consider moving north.
I believe that it will make things better for Newcastle. when people get disgusted about all sorts of things like the political climate or increased costs through the bridge toll, they start looking and saying, do we really want to face the rat race? And getting away from the rat race means the Central Coast and Newcastle, in my opinion. So I believe because the government has blundered in inflicting heavy costs on Northside residents, that it will react to the favour of Newcastle.
Sir Joe arrived at Williamtown Airport in brilliant sunshine, eager to meet the people of Newcastle and give another boost to his Joe for Canberra campaign. The Queensland Premier says he isn't expecting any trouble with the unions and says if they want to hold a rival rally, it's entirely up to them. Sir Joe also slammed Wednesday's federal mini-budget, saying it did nothing but plug up a hole caused by mismanagement.
That the mini-budget didn't do anything for us. It's absolutely nothing. It actually took money out of your pocket, didn't put any in, 400 million extra taxes, and of course sold a lot of the farm, over $1 billion worth, to sort of plug up a hole.
In Newcastle, over 300 members of the Waterside Workers Union and Maritime Group of Unions assembled on the No. 5 Lee Wharf. The workers had decided to strike from 10 until 2 to show their opposition to Sir Joe's move on Canberra. After a short meeting, they marched to the Newcastle Workers Club, where an anti-Joe rally had been organised to begin at 11 a.m. The workers were well equipped, carrying anti-Joe banners. On their arrival at the Workers Club, the police licensing branch ordered all those attending to sign the club's register before proceeding to the auditorium. This delayed the start of the rally, which has been organised by the Newcastle Trades Hall Council. The Joe for Australia rally is set to begin shortly at Civic Park. Legionnaire's disease is a germ found everywhere in nature. It's been identified in soil samples and showerheads. It likes warm, wet environments and for this reason can also cultivate in water cooling towers of air conditioning systems. Air-cooled systems pose no risk. An air conditioning system is poorly designed with an air intake near the cooling tower. Dust and dirt can be drawn into the system. This combination is perfect for the growth of the bacteria, which in big doses can affect people's respiratory system.
Well, the organism is one which is found in water, and it quite likes warm water, and the water in air conditioning cooling towers is warmer than usual, and it can be recovered from them. I think the thing is that if proper maintenance is carried out on the air conditioning units, then the problem is very minimal, really.
What sort of maintenance are you looking at there, do you think?
Oh, you're probably looking at general maintenance in terms of cleaning and periodic chlorination of the water, that sort of thing.
Industry sources say that prevention is the best cure and that it is the building owner's responsibility to keep the system clean. This involves frequently changing the condensation tray, keeping filters clean and treating the cooling water so as to remove bacteria and algae.
Mr.
2,000 protesters and supporters packed Civic Park for Sir Joe's lunchtime rally yesterday. While about 100 had come to support the Queensland Premier in his run for Canberra, 20 times as many were there for a trade union counter-rally. Although there was plenty of heckling and abuse, there was no violence or arrests. In a more relaxed and orderly setting, Sir Joe was the guest speaker at the Hunter Region Small Business Persons Forum at the Civic Theatre last night. 840 tickets were sold for the function, which also featured yacht designer Ben Lexon. During his address, Sir Joe hit a local nerve, accusing the federal government of corruption over the soon-to-be-decided submarine contract. This morning, the would-be Prime Minister was again preaching to the converted when he spoke to the Newcastle Chamber of Commerce. It was after this we asked him if he was too old to run the country.
No, I'm not too old, old fella. I've got a lot of experience, a lot of background. And when you get as old as I am, you'll have a lot of experience and background, and you'll have a better understanding of what unions do to people and to a country and to a nation. And what
Sir Joe left from Williamtown Airport at lunchtime today, but vowed he will be back.
Cheerio. Yes, I'm coming back. I think I'm a good candidate, and then I'll be back.
Opposition to BHP's development application was aired on Sunday night by 400 local residents, supporting the Bolton Point Progress Association. The action group say the erection of the proposed fan ventilation shaft would alienate part of the existing foreshore natural bushland, cause significant noise pollution and result in possible land subsidence by opening the way for future longwall mining. Last night, Lake Macquarie City Aldermen, along with Progress Association representatives and BHP consultants, inspected the proposed shaft site. The development application later went before the Council's public access meeting. The matter was deferred pending the results of the final report. Mayor Jeff Pasterfield says that the Council is under pressure from the opposing residents, but confirmed no final decision would be made until all existing reports have been studied carefully.
Well, the reason is that the residents tonight will make their submission, and there's been this inspection. There's also been an inspection by Council's Development Control Unit. There's also the environmental impact statement, and all of that matter will have to be related into a report now so that the aldermen get that in sufficient time and they can read and digest what's contained in it prior to making a decision on the matter.
So when will a final decision be made?
I would think that it's likely to be about 3 or 4 weeks.
While some have described Mr Beasley's comments last night as a consolation prize for the failure to win the right to build the subs here, it's also seen as a sign that Newcastle hasn't dashed its chances to win other major contracts. While it was heartening last night to hear the Defence Minister Mr Beasley say that Newcastle had a good chance of winning the $3.5 billion frigates contract, many here today say that that's at least 3 years away. They say we should start working for it now. Lord Mayor John McNaughton says that the politicians have already begun working on bringing the jobs to Newcastle.
Our local politicians have been paddling like mad for some months at least on that very thing, recognising the reality of maybe not getting this one.
Although realising much has been gained in experience during the quest for the subs, the bitter taste of disappointment is still very strong.
I believe that the New South Wales federal politicians didn't play an aggressive enough role. I believe that the resignation of Neville Wran was a significant factor in the demise. I felt that the new Premier spent too much time consolidating his own position, whereas Premier Bannon had that time to spend in pursuing the submarine contract.
I was hoping that the decision makers wouldn't take so much notice of the bluff and all the noise that was being made. I was hoping that they would make the decision based on the facts, the cold, hard facts that we presented to them. They didn't make the decision presented based on those facts.
Well, what did they make it on?
Let me say that I think we'd have been in a much better position. We'd be in real good shape if we had some swinging seats in this region.
Member for Newcastle Alan Morris says that those assertions are not true and that they're simply sour grapes. He says that Cockham's made its decision on purely commercial grounds.
Having read the Navy's costing estimates on a comparison of Newcastle versus Adelaide, then obviously it wasn't a political decision. They'd factored into those costs, into those evaluations, costs against Newcastle, which they felt would be likely. Now, whether or not they were fair in that judgment or whether they were being nervous about our reliability is quite arguable. But the fact is that those companies made a clear commercial preference for South Australia.
The NRMA has estimated that 71,000 cars were stolen in this state last year. Only about 66,000 of those were reported to police, and about half were claimed on insurance. The report says that some 53% of the thefts were committed by joyriders, with the cars returned with little or no damage. 24% were professional jobs, and fraudulent claims and petty thefts both made up about 11%. Despite these percentages, the majority of the costs were caused by the professionals who strip or re-identify the stolen cars. Lindsay Somerville from the NRMA says everyone pays this $140 million a year crime.
In the Newcastle area, people at the moment with NRMA are paying $21.10 of their premium to cover the theft of cars in this area.
So the whole community pays for the theft of cars?
That is the unfortunate fact. The community does pay for car thefts.
Family cars are favourite targets, with Coronas, Lasers and other small cars coming a close second. And don't think you're immune from the problem just because you've got an older car. 10-year-old Fords and Holdens are also popular with thieves because they can be stripped for those hard-to-get spare parts. Newcastle has less cars stolen than Sydney and Wollongong. In fact, we're on a par with other country areas. But the NRMA says that's no reason to be complacent.
There's nothing to say that these things can't progress into a larger format than what they already are here. We'd like to ensure that this type of campaign will hopefully diminish any future expansion of this industry.
Where are some of the trouble spots in Newcastle?
Federal National Party leader Ian Sinclair was in Newcastle today to address a special lunchtime meeting of the Newcastle Chamber of Commerce and Industry. In tonight's news there'll be a report on Mr Sinclair's visit and what he had to say about the challenges facing our region.
That means that all those infrastructure...
For all the news, join us tonight at 6. The first to arrive was Robert Holmes à Court, who flew in from Sydney by charter helicopter. He was accompanied by his wife, who will join him at a special dinner tonight. As expected, Mr Holmes à Court is keeping his cards close to his chest and, despite persistent market rumours, wouldn't be drawn on his future plans for his block of BHP shares.
Are you still interested in increasing your share in BHP?
Oh, look, really at the moment, you've caught me just as I arrived.
A short time later at Williamtown Airport, another director of BHP, John Elliott of Elders IXL, landed in his corporate jet, which openly promotes the Foster's beer label. John Elliott is a prominent member of the Liberal Party, but it's no secret that he's unhappy with the present state of politics in Australia.
There's been an economic malaise in this country and we really need to redress it. with different economic policies.
Are you throwing your support behind Sir Joe or aligning yourself with the drives in the Liberal Party?
I support the Liberal Party strongly.
Are you maintaining a push for Canberra? You're a very high political profile at the moment.
I've never made any commitment to say that I would enter politics. I run a big business called Elders.
Do you find that there's any conflict between the interest in Elders and the interest in BHP?
No, I don't think so, no. No, we're a major shareholder in BHP, and BHP's a major shareholder in Elders, and there's very good relationships between the companies, and both are very progressive.
Do you find that
The only sort of knowledge that I've got is about the guys called Ashley Gordon and Derek McVie, whom people in Newcastle have told me are quite good players, and they've also told me that there are a number of other good younger players in the area. And Lee, to be honest with you, I think that's the direction which we have to take. We've got to try and nurse our nursery. We've got to try and look after the youth of Newcastle and encourage them, and not only Newcastle but the supplying areas as well, neighbouring areas, and encourage them and give them every opportunity to one day to become a Knight. And we've got to try and give the schools encouragement to play the rugby league and help them in areas where they can then produce nursery to help the future with the Newcastle Knights.
You'd be pleased to hear that the Knights have signed Darren Rogers as late as the last couple of days too. That gives you, at least early in the piece, one very experienced centre anyway.
Lee, that's dead right. You see, centres in the Sydney competition are as scarce as hen's teeth. Darren is very young, but yet has had a lot of experience. That is the sort of player which we are looking for.
What about rugby league today? It's a changed game since you came into it as a lad, and certainly when you played at Balmain and the other clubs, it is a game that's evolving in a different way these days, isn't it?
All the time, Lee. You see, each year before you start a competition, there's invariably rule changes. You know, when I first started playing football as a young guy, it was a no-tackle football. And we moved into a 4-tackle football. It followed into a 5, and now it's a 6. And then all of a sudden it was on the 6th tackle it was a scrum. Now the scrum's wiped, and now it's change of possession. That wasn't so long ago that the bomb was quite popular in the rugby league, and now that has been diffused. And now it's a 22-metre tap coming out, And that, quite largely, I've just put it into probably 15 or 20 seconds, but that in actual fact has happened nearly every year, probably for the last 10 years, of constant rule changes.
It's an exciting period in your life as regards football.
It is. It's exciting. It's a challenge. It'll be hard. Make no camouflaging the issue. It'll be hard.
When do we expect to see Alan McMahon and his family in Newcastle?
Well, Lee, I have to do a few things, probably not unlike any other family man. I've got a wife and a small baby, and she's not far off expecting the second, which is in the middle of next month. So to be fair to her, I must wait there until everything there is okay and fine. And you've got a house to sell, like every normal family man. You've got a job which you must give notice and then train someone to take your position. She has a very successful business there as a dance studio. That'll be a matter of winding that down. So as a matter of those items can be itemised, I'll be here.
Okay, welcome to Newcastle. We're looking forward to some success, and we know that the Newcastle Rugby League Board's chosen the right man.
Hopefully. Thank you, Lee.